Joburg, everybody. Hello, this is Steve. This is GI Joburg. This is episode 337, and we are talking about San Diego Comic-Con Reveals 2024, plus a few sprinklings of comic books in the mix. GI Joburg is the show where a couple of friends meet to talk about their lifelong obsession with GI Joes. You know, I'm Steve. I'm joined by my buddy Paul. Hey, Paul.
Hey, what's up, Bug Force? How's everybody
Rob will be
today?
along shortly, and yeah, as I say, this is the show where
He's on
three
a secret
buddies talk
mission.
about GI Joe, and you guys come along with us week to week on our weekly mission, our adventure into collecting. And thank you. You could be spending your time listening to anything else on the internet, but you chose to listen to us. You must have it just as bad as we do. GI Joe, guys, it's back. It's back. People keep saying it's back. But San Diego Comic-Con is currently wrapping up. I mean, it's Saturday, the wee hours. No, it's now Sunday for them. Okay, anyways. But we've already had the big reveals. If you're a G.I. Joe fan, chances are you know about everything we're going to talk about today. We're going to cherry pick. I don't think I want to be in any way comprehensive about the reveals. We're going to pick out some of our favorites, some of our best talking points, some things that we want to sink our teeth into. Obviously, the Rattler will be a massive point of discussion. As of now, it has funded. We haven't quite unlocked the first stretch goal of patches. But I mean, it's got enormous momentum out the gate. Not quite his tank momentum, but pretty close to. Yeah, it funded
I think
within the first 24 hours of the campaign.
I think people are like trying to figure out where they're going to put it now. You know, like that's the thing.
We're going to get into it, but ingenious to have the wings fold up. I mean, that's not something I associate with an A10, but hey, it's a Rattler. It's a different beast altogether. You know, it can now swing its wings up to go VTOL and also fold them up to be like an F-18 on a carrier. We have some chats. Mark van Leeuwen's here.
Wow.
Good afternoon. Yes, of course. If you are on Greenwich Mean Time or thereabouts, it would be the afternoon. Real Deal Robert is here. Joe Hunter 73. Good morning to you. It must be pretty early. Maybe you're on the East Coast, so it's not too bad.
And the chaplain's assistant.
Yep, Ironmonger represent. Yorktown Joe. Gosh, okay. We have changed our timing for this episode. So the live chat is perhaps given a bit of a shock. We're at a very comfortable hour from yours truly. It's 10 p.m. Paul, what time is it for you?
It is 2 o'clock. It is 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Lovely.
1400 hours.
You've just dragged yourself out of bed or what?
No, I've been out of bed for a while, must be honest.
Boy.
Yeah. I don't do the late afternoon Sunday thing. It's a weekend. I can't waste it.
No, of course. Hit the ground running. Yeah. All right. So, Paul, opening gambit, my friend. Is there anything that you are dying to weigh in on out of all the reveals?
Ooh. Okay. The first one I got to mention is Road Pig.
Okay. Why?
Yeah, because I'm a little annoyed with it. And I figured it's cool to start off with something that I'm a bit annoyed with because we'll gradually go into the stuff that's cool. I appreciate that old Road Pig has got a bit of a spare tire kind of look, kind of vibe. I appreciate that they went with that. I think maybe it was a little bit of a misstep. I think they should have gone for the super bulky, crazy muscular version that we've seen with the modern era and to greater or lesser extent with the vintage. So I do feel like, I don't know, it's a weird situation with this because his classified interpretation does mirror his comic book characterization quite well. You know, the whole kind of, I want to say kind of dopey, not really all there kind of vibe that he has. But yeah, I don't know. When I saw this, I was like, okay, when I saw this, actually, to be honest with you guys, I was like, oh, cool. I don't have to spend money on this. It's weird. I'm sure there's a lot of guys that dig it, and I think there's some cool ideas like the pig mask, the sort of boar mask is a really cool thing. Having the pit bull, it's a fun animal companion to give to the guy. I don't know if I agree with that as a choice, because in my brain I see it as like his dogs are not going to go up against Junkyard, so like it's like a dogfight kind of. I don't know. It's just like maybe I'm overthinking it and stuff, but I did not feel this guy out of the gate. I do feel that the sum of the sum of its parts are not greater than the whole, and that's kind of my issue. It's got so many cool things happening for it, but just altogether, it's just that I was a little disappointed by this. To be honest,
We
Yeah.
have images courtesy of histank.com, but also I'm gonna probably be dipping in and out of Full Force's Facebook page for a few on the ground images. So thank you to Chris for sharing these on. They did have actual in-hand road pig. No, okay, it's not in hand, but it's not a digital render. I think that's an actual
Yeah.
bit of photography of. Yeah, I've got some
There we
images from
go.
old Full Force. It looks like the real plastic. Does have the bolts on his forearm. Some people are
Yes.
wondering, like, where's his crossbow? Well, it seems to be a secondary, like a soft goods or soft plastic strap that goes on his left arm. Look,
So
Lenny of the Hasbro design team, this is an absolute passion project for him. Like Road Pig has been his like numero uno. If you've ever heard interviews on the subject of like his favorite figures, Road Pig's up there. So this is something that he wanted to get right desperately from day one.
yeah.
And has finally like got the parts or the budget to spring for unique parts to bring his vision to life. So
Whoa, look
yeah,
at
it
that.
seems like, hey, is that a Rob? Welcome to the party, buddy.
Welcome. Just had to perform an evacuation, but we're
Oh, thank
all
you.
here now.
Charming. Well, we're talking Road Pig and the big controversy about his physique. Lenny explains it by saying like he wanted this guy to look like world's strongest man kind of physique, the kind of dudes that pull Boeings, I guess is how I interpret that. They have to be
Okay.
thick set. It's not just beach muscle bods. It's not six pack and ripped buys and tries. Like it's heavy, it's dense, he's solidly built. He's an absolute wall of a human being. So that's what you're getting. We are seeing a designer on an absolute mission. Like this is Lenny's imaginations made plastic. So either go
Yeah.
with it or suck
So
eggs,
good
man.
likeness. Good likeness. It's fantastic.
The last minute of like opinion I want to give to this is just that I do see it's. I'm not blind to the fact that it has been that a lot of stuff to its design has been considered. Like, my opinion is coming more from, well, it's my opinion. It's how I feel. It's a subjective thing. I don't think it's objectively fair to say it has to be this or it has to be that. And if you're at the helm of the design of this and it's a passion project of yours, then then by all means, let your flair fly with this and go for it. And maybe a lot of people are on the same or in the same camp as Lenny is with this design. Yeah, it's just
It's
I think this
funny. I'm
has
not hearing that sentiment at all. Like everyone I've spoken to are like, "What? This is not what they
Oh,
were
really?
expecting."
Okay, well,
And
that's
when people have their expectations not met by a figure, it's hard to embrace the newness, like
yeah.
whatever someone's vision is trying to get you to love. Maybe we'll all come around on it. It would be like
Maybe,
finally a
but
unique physique. He's not just an absolute like slab of beef like Slaughter or Roadblock. Like this guy's a different body type, and that's
different heavy
awesome.
man. Yeah, I think it's quite cool. I think overall it's a cool design. It's a nice reinterpretation of the character in the classified line.
So
And
Rob's
it's nice to
feeling
see a different
that's
body
cool.
type. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think I feel I'm finally represented in the classified line. Like this is me made figure. Wow.
Well,
Are you pulling
that's a
Boeing
cool
in your
point.
spare time? Taking a hammer to a tractor tire? Jeez.
Absolutely. There's at least a couple of tires outside in the yard. Yeah, I could be hammering. It's fantastic.
But
fantastic. I
again-
think he's. I don't know. That's just me. The details
Okay.
are nice. I think I can see the original version in him. And for me at least, I think that's good enough.
Anyone in the chats, if you guys have pre-ordered Road Pig, I don't even know if his pre-order is open or if this is just a render reveal.
or are you planning to pre-order?
Are you planning to?
Maybe
Good
not.
question, because
Yeah.
you know we
I
are
mean,
kind of stepping
as-
outside of the current toy collecting fad. Classified isn't our jam. Paul,
Yeah, well, as-
you are love-hate with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
Robert
love-hate-
Gluten says, a bit on the chunky side for sure. But I think, that kind of feels more in line with who he is, kind of like a
Powerlifters don't
chug
look like
stuffed.
Arnold. They look dense.
But
Yes.
that-
Yeah,
yeah.
because
Not
Arnold's a
just-
Like-
bodybuilder. So,
But as Paul
yeah.
said, if you don't like it, that's fine too. If you can come around on it at some point, or don't get him. Thankfully, they've revealed a whole bunch of other ones. They've revealed Crop Duster as well. That was kind of cool.
What?
He looks awesome.
Who?
Crop Duster.
Well,
You start
okay.
Starduster.
Oh yes.
Pour through one into the pot. He opened
Whoa.
with Road Pig. Let's do Crop Duster.
Yeah, come on.
Let's see if
give
I
us
can
Crop
find some
Duster.
images. Paul, Rob,
Whoa.
what's got you interested in Starduster?
I just think it's cool. He looks very much like his original version. And even though, like, usually, we poo-poo the little, like, fire effects, I think it's nice for him, at least, kind
Well,
of adds
you
to
guys,
his,
I don't poo-poo the fire effects.
flying.
I like them.
Oh, well, I
Yeah.
usually do. I think it's a waste of plastic. But definitely, he looks like fun. I think he's quite cool. He's-
I could give less of a shit about Stardust in all
Wow.
honesty. I
That's
think the
actually wild.
execution is well done. I just don't care.
The hell
It's like
is he?
I think
He
I'm
comes with a box of
definitely-
cereal, guys. How cute. Ah, there we go.
I think that's awesome. What
Hello,
great fun.
Starduster.
I mean, yes,
He looks
I'd say
yeah.
he's a bit on the simple side. Like there's not as much detailing as compared to Road Pig, but is it necessary?
The original was a Duke Frankenjoe with a
Yeah.
sort of flash/hawk head. He had some interesting lower half parts uses. I think he had roadblock
sure he did.
boots. He had iceberg's crotch.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Yo.
But guys, he comes with a box of cereal. A little cardboard representation of it, which is
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
because he was
Lovely.
a collect the tabs kind of figure. Hey, he was like one of those. That was how you got the original, wasn't it? Like, was it a
think
cereal?
so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Action
Yeah.
Stars cereal, I believe.
Yeah.
Probably not the
Um,
funnest one that came out, but I just still think it's cool that they've done him.
People are doing backflips about the Fang helicopters on the box art or the box photography.
Yeah, I saw that. I was just like, okay. So we don't want the figure. We want to know, like, when are we getting these things? When are these
But-
coming out, guys?
Guys, having never seen it in hand, but only ever looking at it in the box, I think this is the retro Fang release from, when was it, 2019?
Force perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe has there ever been any confirmation on whether this is an old toy or not? I mean, what's weird about it, and I'm only noticing this now that I'm scrutinizing the image, is they've chopped off half the front of the vehicle. Notice you've got the Pilot Viper's like leg hanging out the side. It's like the ball turret. It doesn't have a second half to it. Well, the ball turret does have a second half to it. The helicopter has been cut in half.
Yeah.
Am I making
Yeah.
any sense?
I feel
Yeah,
like they
you
just
are. It's
threw this
like
together. Maybe it's
something's
not
missing.
actually meant to be something that's coming out. It's just like
It's
we want to put
probably
something
a
in the
reveal
background.
of an intended release. I mean, of course, they've got an eye
Mm.
on releasing the Fang. It's a stone cold classic, and it
How could
fits
you
a
not?
price point that Classified could bring to retail without any kind of
Yeah, I
special
mean,
funding.
maybe shortening it kind of makes it in line with the sizing, as it were, of kind of the bikes that they brought out.
Oh yeah, that retro version was kind of shorter, stubbier, and came with a new pilot figure that was a bit of a nothing burger, to be honest. That
Yeah,
I
but it's
wonder
to
that's
make it
probably
more in
still
line
clog
with the
shelves in
cost.
Singapore.
Yeah, but it's the cost effectiveness of bringing it out. I think that's what it is. You know, there are considerations towards, you know, the size of boxing and shipping as well. I mean, I think shipping is a huge thing. You know, the volume of these toys is what makes them more expensive to ship. So once you hit a certain scale on these things, like, it becomes way, you know, it doesn't, you know, cost effective to do it, I'd imagine.
All right, Yorktown Joe's got my back.
Whoa.
Exactly, Stephen. It looks like that Walmart retro Fang. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was seeing those still in Singapore. I don't know, a year ago now. They
My
are
Waste of
still
plastic.
readily there to be had.
Why did
Okay.
they bother?
What else do we want to talk about?
Ooh, the claw.
Spin the roulette wheel.
Oh, the claw. Okay,
claw.
Okay.
Okay, so I was checking out these reveals, and I'm like, you know, I had Moonlight send me images of like Raptor, and I was like, oh, okay, Raptor's looking pretty cool, but you know, okay, not like I have to have. And then I went online and I was like, okay, Road Pig, okay, well, you know, whatever. And then I'm like Starduster, and I was like, you Leatherneck, oh god. and then I'm like, cool. And then our good friend Darren sends me a message, and he's like, have you seen this? And then I thought I was marked safe from announcements, but clearly I wasn't, because look at this thing. The claw is amazing, guys.
You're going weak at the knees for this thing.
I'm going weak at the knees for this. This is for me, a very like practical GI Joe vehicle. I think it's great for the classified line because it's not too big. It's fun to play with.
It's
it comes
such
with
a
a female
simple
Cobra
thing
Trooper.
to make. I mean, that's such a great thing. You know, it's essentially one long plank of plastic. But it's an iconic and it's a cool plank of plastic. You know, not to take
There
anything
you go.
away from it by calling it that, but that's easy to make. You know.
Yes, and I'm very like excited about this. I think this is definitely something I'm going to try and get my hands on, much like the Trouble Bubble. Because I think these vehicles are perfect in the classified scale, because they just, once again, easy to handle.
Adds something, it adds something to the line, you know, because that's what obviously a line like this at the scale, you know, is missing, is the vehicles. And it is kind of easy to obviously throw together a smaller vehicle and to add to that. And the wingspan actually looks way bigger than the vintage version.
Yes.
I feel like this is like upscaled, like even more, which is
and
kind of
thank
cool.
you, Yorktown Joe. You've nailed it. I've got
Yorktown
the
Joe's
Storm Shadow
coming
for it. Now I
through
just
for
need the
something.
claw. And it's going to be great. And I also think it's cool that it comes with a female Cobra Trooper, which is usually like a figure type that I love having. So for me, this is like a great package.
It's smart of them as well, because obviously, I mean, I feel toy companies are always a bit unsure of selling female figures, because I mean, historically, they always seem to end up on the, you know, on the pegs in the aisles. So packaging her with this kind of incentivizes you a little bit more to get her.
Well,
And
you know,
like
you're damned if you do.
Well, no, like the ferret, the claw is the kind of vehicle that is readily picked up and used by any Cobra or Joe for that matter. So like, it's a take it or leave it situation. You've got a cool dedicated female pilot if you want to have a dedicated pilot, or you can have any member of Cobra or anyone.
For sure.
Fly
anyone else you've put in there. And
so you're not necessarily hemmed into a corner. But
Robert
then again,
points out,
then what does she do if you are equipping Storm Shadow with this thing? She'll just
well,
go to the
she
box
joins
or the back of the
the normal, you know, the group of people. But as Robert Kalupa points out, this can complete a dire for the GI Joe the movie opening for the classified line. We're getting closer and closer to be able to reproduce the GI Joe movie opening.
Now they just need Morays, X30s, and Skyhawks.
Close enough. Those are the next three Haslabs.
At the risk of sounding a little pervy here, and a little anti-woke, but I don't care about that.
You want to see the back of this figure? I know.
No, I definitely want to see
Same.
the back of that Cobra
Same.
trooper. But in the Sunbow cartoon, there are 2 instances where you see female Cobra troopers. In both instances, they're not wearing a lot of bottoms. It's like, it's completely like sexist, like because the Cobra troopers
That was
get
the
to have full pants,
80s. That's what got
but
the little
the
boys to
female
watch
ones
the TV
don't. They get like
cartoons.
well, they get like swimming trunk bottoms, right? Like
what
I'm
the
sure
it's
Baroness's Joy
appropriate.
Division. Well,
Yes.
need I remind you that there was an instance where Mindbender had no pants on either.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Counted
So-
and yeah.
So tit
God,
for tat.
Yeah, so the
Everybody
cool
gets
thing is
killed.
like maybe we can get that SDCC set. I mean, listen, guys, I'm happy for them to release a pantsless Mindbender. If we can get hot pants Cobra Viper,
I still want
female
an
Cobra
entire
troopers
play
and
set
Vipers.
from that episode that I like a lot. The toy playground or whatever. What is it called? The toy master.
The Games Master.
Yes,
yeah?
Games Master. I
Hmm.
want a complete set of all those guys because Death's
Yeah.
in like a swimsuit in that, isn't he? And
No,
then so
Baroness
is,
in her
Baroness.
red and white bikini.
Yes.
I'll never
yes.
forget it.
Yeah,
Very
and then
much.
you got Destro like canoodling with a Cobra female,
Yes,
female Cobra trooper,
fantastic. Give me a yacht.
and Baroness is like,
I want
what is this? Like-
Flint in his like casual wear, his sort of
Yes.
sweatshirt, and
Super
also
7,
his
get
beret.
on this. I want this.
Yeah.
You gotta have your golf togs plus the beret at all times, Flint. I insist.
Exactly.
Totally. Now let's get that
Let's
back. Anyway,
talk a bit about something that's near and dear my heart anyway. And
Yeah,
that
let's
would
talk
be-
about the bird in the room. Yeah.
Okay, fine then, Rob.
no. What
I
did
thought that's
Steve
what you
wanna
wanted to
say?
talk about. I thought you were like,
Bastard.
whoa,
No.
finally, we have.
No,
our
Steve's
bird
excited about something. Let's not get to the bird yet. There's something else.
Okay, let's save the best for last. Okay, well, Steven, what has got your noodle canoodling?
Cup.
Is,
Of course.
all of
What
What
a
Joe's
surprise.
one cup. But seriously, guys,
Don't
I
Google
was
that.
not. I was very undecided about the Thunderwave, Shockwave, or
Well, of course.
Soundwave. Jeez, gonna get my Transformers confused. Then again, this isn't a Transformers podcast. Ha 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 ha.
It
Get it
doesn't
right,
help
though.
that name is the same
I have an issue with a non-army builder vehicle being the alt mode for a Transformer, because I'm not going to see any other Thunder Machine usurp my favorite Thunder Machine in my collection, which is the one that I have from Ryan Sweeney, Dreadnought Ryan.
There you
So
go.
if you've got a like canonically a singular vehicle like the Thunder Machine, I don't want it being a Transformer, because all of a sudden it's not this anonymous, additional his tank in the motor pool that happens to be hiding Megatron. It's the Thunder Machine, and by being the Thunder Machine, there's no ways Thrasher would not know that he's got a robot in disguise under that hood.
Yeah, because
So
he
the
knows
same
his vehicle
problem
intimately.
might
Well, they'll do that
be
movie after
true of
Transformers
Cup.
1 fails.
Well, I'll hold judgment until I see Transformers 1. That's on the slate for me to watch, as well as Deadpool and Wolverine. No spoilers here, please, boys.
I'll keep it quiet.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
I'll check it out.
It's been a
soon.
tricky time getting images and basically discuss or researching this topic while avoiding spoilers on the movie front.
Yeah, I can
Like-
imagine. Yeah.
My mind is at war with itself. Cup is looking damn good. He's a character
This
that I've
is
never owned in any
okay.
form, and he's a great character at that. He makes for a tidy Transformer and folds up into very effective and accurate Triple T. I also like the fact that his weapons,
that's-
are the Triple T side guns.
Yeah.
And there was something very weird about the Thunder Wave using the Thunder Machine's like rocket engine or jet engine as his shoulder cannon. It you could see that that's where they were going with it. Like but it still didn't look right in my eyes. It was weird. There was a mushroom clip right in the middle, and they sculpted the sort of the little like rocket pods or rocket protrusions, but they were too small in my opinion. I don't know. It just didn't look as good as like what Cup is doing, which the side guns of the Triple T make for pretty elegant handguns for a Transformer. And Cup was typically depicted with like dual wielding pistols. If I'm not,
He's a veteran as well, which is cool.
Yeah,
am I
veterans always
remembering
include
something?
I think
But
you are.
here is where I've argued myself into a corner. Is a Triple T a unique vehicle?
Well, it's Sergeant Slaughter's Triple T.
There you
So,
go.
Yeah, it's his Triple T, but it could be that it's an entire line. I mean, we've
it's
only
just usually
seen
built
him
that
use
way.
it. Yeah, it's there's Sergeant Slaughter and his Triple T. It could be a line of it. I mean, it could be one of many vehicles.
We've done that on our own play motions. We've kind of held that
Renegades.
all of the Renegades have their unique Triple Ts. Paul came up with cool like Red Dog signature stickers for and courtesy of Zazel from Zazel's Clubhouse. His rebrand. Previously Sergeant Slaughter Slaughterhouse. He had a lot of spare Triple Ts, one that didn't have any stickers on it, so we customized that to being like Red Dog's special. So yeah, in that sense, you could have a multiple, an army build of Triple Ts. What does the chat say? Could the Triple T be a kind of a standard workhorse? It's a weird thing.
Curious to hear that.
To be honest, like this vehicle is really just a chair on tracks to deliver the Sarge into danger. Very dangerously.
But like, let's swing into like Cup for a second. So I have never been tempted to buy a Cup Transformer ever. And the most recent offering has been pretty amazing. I think it's a Studio 86 Cup. In fact, it's a bit of a peg warmer. You can actually find them on shelves here in South Africa. Shock horror. You can actually find a toy here. Anyway, but it happens to be Cup. And maybe not like everybody's favorite Transformer. And for me, it's always fallen apart because I feel Cup's alt mode is a bit boring. But this Triple T is amazing for Cup. It's a great fit. And I think the Cup is actually giving off a lot of like premium Transformer feeling vibes to it. It doesn't feel like I love Soundwave as the Thunder as the Thunder machine. But I really think that this Cup Triple T is amazing. It's really well finished.
They're getting better.
It's probably the best quality that we've seen from this sort of line so far. And
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Ever. It's the best Transformer ever in the history of the world.
Probably the most.
They're getting better at it. These combinations, the GI Joe Transformers vehicle things are getting as they make them, more of them, they do get better and better. It's kind of like starting to feel out like what the concepts are, and it's a great pick.
Came out of nowhere. Yeah,
it's a great pick though. I mean, Sergeant Slaughter has always been super popular. To this very day, he's very much a mascot. A champion of GI Joe, and I think it's a great choice.
Well, I'm
struggling to remember a little bit.
You got a new figure.
Yeah, I mean, not only are you getting Cup, you're getting 2 Marines.
Yeah,
Leatherneck and Sergeant Slaughter.
And on those picks, they look great.
They look very good in those picks.
In the media picks, they look amazing. They look really good.
They've done a good job. Although anything Joe's points out, it would have been cool to see Action Man packed in with them because Cup and Action Man were apparently basically partners in the IDW Revolutions run.
Oh, deep cut.
Yeah.
You are dealing with a team that didn't even know that Wild Weasel's face had been revealed. I mean, the comic books are clearly not.
We're expecting a little too much.
Their research doesn't go that far. I am pleased to note that Sarge is Sunbow cartoon accurate. If you are a stickler for the details, they never quite had his comic book design sheet represented in the plastic. The smoky hat was the wrong color. The belt wasn't picked out in white, and yeah, I mean he's got a much more cartoon accurate camo scheme on his pants. They even look a little bit tighter. I mean, he's got the sort of the gator boot detail, the sort of
Also-
brown splash on the boots.
Also
It's
cool
nice,
that
beautiful.
okay, and I can't tell if this is because of the white balance from the shot, for the press shots or whatever, but the current image of Sergeant Slaughter has got a slightly more pink hue to his skin, so he's not as like pasty white. He's not like, you know, he's got a little bit
like
of
you'd actually think a
pinkness.
dude who kind of works out all the time would actually be out in it a lot,
But
especially with
it's
the type
cool.
of top that he wears. You know, he does look more healthy, I think you could probably
Yeah,
say.
it balances the colors out nicely. It creates a more warm palette. Again, this could
Yeah.
just be in the press images, and when you see the figure in hand, it might just be like quite beige anyway for the skin
Trick.
tone. But
It's
still,
a trick. It's a trap. They're trying to
It's a
trick
trick.
us.
but Leatherneck looks awesome, dude. Leatherneck, Leatherhead, Leatherneck.
Leatherneck.
Yeah.
I know, right? You got
Freaking
Team
Ninja Turtles.
TNMT on the brain. Yeah, he looks good. They've changed his gun, made it more sort of scale accurate. The
Nice.
backpack seems larger. But yeah, and
Possibly.
the big detail change. Obviously, they do not have a bird and ball on the hat. It is the sort of new GI Joe stand-in for the Marine Corps logo, which
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
But I
he
love
looks
that
like
from
a
these pictures.
sci-fi, like he looks like he should be in RoboCop 3 or Starship Troopers with that symbol.
Yes.
Don't you think?
Yes.
It's very like sharp.
Would you like to
and
know more?
It looks very
sci-fi-ish.
sci-fi-ish, weird, you know.
It's very Romulan.
But I like that from these pictures, you can tell that the plastic is going to be, I don't know, it's not as shiny as it's. I mean, it's in line with the retro line.
Sure.
Especially on Leatherhead, you can really see it feels softer, not softer, but more matte. You know, so the head isn't shiny anymore.
I love
Actually,
how they've
yeah.
used they've keyed out the image a bit. I mean, this is not going to make for great radio, but like anyone watching this, the Joes are kind of disappearing into the
Oh
background.
no, that is someone
That's
was not
very
paying
fast
attention.
photoshopping.
Well,
Yeah.
it's shiny plastic, guys. It's obviously going to glint a bit of green if they're using a green screen or whatever they're
Yeah.
using.
Oh wow, that's
Use
unfortunate.
a
Poor
Anyway.
Leatherneck.
not
He's
go
They're
there.
using
stayed against the-
Zartan's chameleon technology. But yeah, look, guys, I definitely want to have this in the collection. It makes for
Jeez,
a
that's a
tight vehicle mode. Oof.
yes. It's how much? Sorry, just how much panic was happening in that marketing press room when they were
God, they were
when they were
rushing
putting
to
this
get
image
this
together.
finished.
Whoever signed that off needs to get kicked in the ass. That is bullshit.
Yeah, because it's not just.
I'm
the
sorry, I
figures,
would get
it's
fired for doing
also-
shit like that.
It's
Seriously,
also the
in my
actual
younger
vehicle itself.
no, dude, if in my younger days as a graphic designer, if you did shit like that, you would get a warning, man. You would get fired.
Those are those
Wow.
fighting
That's
words.
bullshit. Yeah, no, that's bullshit. That's
Give that
somebody
job to
needs-
Paul. He'll
Somebody
get it
needs.
done right.
No, don't give me that job. I don't fuck that job. That's junior work. But like, yeah, no bullshit.
But
This is a professional brand, guys. This is like a top. This is a world
Yeah, I
brand.
know.
It's like
Dude,
no,
you
you
don't
don't do
make
that shit.
mistakes like that. But overall, I mean, it's a great choice for a transformer. Like the shape of the Triple T, I think lends itself to being a transformer. Like it
And
feels
cup, particularly.
transformery
The
itself.
chest looks
Yeah.
right. I mean, what a derpy original toy.
Yeah.
He kicks ass in this presentation.
Oh, so much.
We're waiting to
Absolutely.
find out when it goes on pre-order, but I'll probably only get it a year from now when it goes into deep discount.
I still
Yeah,
want a
no,
Thunder
wait for it
Wave,
to get real cheap on Australian shelves.
and I will definitely get one. Guys,
Amazon
look at
basically
the
had
scale.
a sale
Sorry.
recently where Thunder Wave was 50% off. So
That's
Insane.
amazing.
am I a
I
bad
can't believe
fan?
I missed that.
Am I a
No.
bad fan?
No, you're a
No, you
smart
want to
fan.
save money.
You
want to buy
are-
more
there
Joe
are-
toys, not less.
Stephen, there are enough people buying these things full price. Don't worry about it. You
I'm a
are
very
a
patient man.
shrewd and that's complete. You know, that's totally valid. But yes, Paul,
Okay.
he looks really big.
The
Actually,
scale
he
is
goes
so
into rough terrain,
amazing.
which is amazing.
This
If
is
you
what-
look at the actual vehicle,
Yeah.
it isn't huge. So the way that they're transformed him, they've folded him outwards.
That mass
actually
shifting is
looks
amazing. Love it.
big, which,
It's gonna
which I
c-
quite like.
It's so cool. It's so cool that it exists like that. Like, I'm so glad that Cup doesn't transform into something that's twice the size of a GI Joe, but like, 4 times the size of a GI Joe. It's
Don't
great.
get too
How it should be.
excited, boys. I think there's a bit of if you're referring to this image particularly of the
Yes,
figures
the image that we're
beside
looking at right now. Do you think this
there's a
is
little
cheating?
bit of
Has the
yes.
same guy messed up on this one too? He
They've
scaled it
reduced the
incorrectly.
That
action
bastard.
figure size. I mean, if I compare my
Oh,
Sergeant Slaughter to the Triple
nasty.
T that I have right beside me,
Yeah.
that's how high he comes up to on the tracks.
Move it. Please move the Triple T to the side so I can see the treads. Like,
Oh yeah,
change
I
its
shifted a
angle.
little bit there.
There we go. And lift it a little bit up for on camera.
Goodness me.
No, I can see that working. I can actually see it being
No,
close to that size when
I
it's
think that
transformed.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm referring mainly to comparing Cup's chest to the figures. And
Nah, it's the treads are more of a better indicator because the thing is the chest is transformed a bit there.
All
Yeah.
right. Anyway, like I said,
All right.
Fake Radio.
guys, let's get to the real
Guys,
meat of this
announcement. And, Where's do we have a picture of Raptor? Do we have a picture of Raptor?
No, we
I
don't.
just want
We
to.
have
I just
no.
want to show.
The
I don't want to
internet
like.
provides. Don't you worry.
I don't want to.
Well,
I don't want to talk about it like for like
you don't wanna
hours.
talk
But I
about
just
it.
want to say
But he's so
I
cool.
love-
It's 10
I love
minutes.
this interpretation of Raptor because I think
Mm.
giving him the cyber wings was a cool touch. Because if they ever want to do like a retro version with like more bird-like wings, they can do that. But the figure itself, I think, looks really good. I do think it's a little too cool for its own good. To be fair, like
Raptor's not meant to be cool. He's an accountant.
no, not just that, but I mean, like the concept of Raptor as a character is a pretty goofy thing to begin
No,
with,
for
right?
sure. But they want him to be more in line with the
No, I'm-
classified of now.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
aware of that,
so
and they want to
you
make money,
accept
so they have to make it. They have to make it like the SS Cool Boy. I get that.
Yeah,
You know, when I mean SS, I mean like ship, not that SS. But those wings are badass. I can see a lot of guys actually getting the set mostly for the wings to use them in other ways. Not to discredit the figure's design or anything, but I just think the design of the wings is like actually really
but
quite
it
top
makes
notch.
sense. I mean, they've updated a lot of cool
Just a
stuff.
bit young
for the
looking.
Classified
He's
line.
got a tight hairstyle, dude. Dick Grayson over
It's-
there. Oof, he's looking
Dick
fresh.
Grayson.
Oh goodness!
Oh, man.
Yeah, you could
Yeah.
actually. You could take that
Nightwing.
head and do your own. Yeah.
Vulture,
Well, Nightwing.
slash
Actually, what you
Nightwing.
could do as well. What's the name of the second one? The dead one?
Red Robin.
No, not Red Robin.
Tim Drake.
Oh,
Tim Drake.
oh,
He'd actually be more appropriate for Tim Drake because I don't think Nightwing would actually have a hairstyle like that. I feel like
No.
his hair would still be a little bit longer, not like
But it
super long,
reminds
but-
it reminds me of Kenner Batman's Robin, the hairstyle. Yeah, old.
reminds me of Michael Keaton's Vulture.
Yes,
but
but
it's
yeah,
a
I
great,
think this is a cool toy.
it's fantastic.
and,
I think yeah, as you said, the wings make sense for the classified line for the aesthetic that they go for. You know, they do update a lot of stuff. You know, include a lot of like little techie things.
Mm.
What a world we're living in, guys, where the freaks of 1987. I mean, Crystal Ball must be waiting in the wings, licking his chops.
Oh, heck.
Because, like, Crocmaster, Big Boa, and Raptor are all realized in
Present.
plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Mental.
of course, this is all very cool and stuff, but it's still very upsetting that they have completely skipped over Scoop. They keep skipping him. They keep not making a Scoop figure. How do you do that? How do you take out these freaky dudes and not give us a cool cameraman?
Yeah.
But yeah, he
I
looks,
think-
actually, Paul, you're right.
Yeah.
He looks too cool.
Yeah.
Like he's got freaking
It's cool Wolverine.
Wolverine claws. He has no right to be this cool. Like
Yeah.
He was played for jokes, for gags, for laughs in the comic book.
Yeah.
All his
Yeah.
appearances, like, Cobra Commander's like, is this guy for real?
Yeah, he's Condor Man.
What is?
Yeah.
Who the hell
It's
is
just
this
like-
guy?
We
And why is
hired
he
you
just like a
as an
bird?
accountant. You didn't have to dress up like that's if you're
just
inside
loves
the
his job.
building, if you're not going outside, it's not necessary for you to have
Cobra
costumes.
Commander's like
this
he's
is a
really
different
committed to the bit.
this is a different division. You know, like we hired you as an accountant, not to dress up as a bird. He was really freaked out by this guy.
Once
No,
again,
but
a
this is
lot of
exciting.
care, detail, and attention has gone into a character that was an absolute nothing burger for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So bravo for making something
Yeah.
of this slot.
And also it shows you how
What a
popular
world.
this line is, hey? That Hasbro can like easily dip into the freaks.
Yeah, but I think
and
also
have them be successful toy releases.
they want the toys
So.
to look distinctly different. Like, yes, we have a lot of soldier dudes and girls and bad guys, but they want more characters that look different and make the line look more diverse. And when you kind of put it up there, it's not like soldier. Like, oh, there's this guy and that guy.
I would like,
because you'll see that with Marvel Select or Marvel Marvel Select. Like, there's a lot of different characters when you pull from the Marvel universe.
I would like to think that GI Joburg has had a small part in making some of those freaks kind of lovable, because we've definitely spoken about them a lot. We've definitely used a lot of them in play motions, and by extension, the Berg Force has brought them into collaborations, into an.
Obviously, we haven't used Scoop enough.
Like
I think I need to start. I need to actually get off my ass and start making Scoop stories, hundreds and hundreds.
Maybe just do that so that we can have it ready for International Backyard next year, dude. Come up with a Scoop story.
No,
give us the scoop, Rob.
I'm gonna release it whenever I want. I'm just gonna do it tomorrow.
Ice cream scoop. Shall we head to the main event, or is there something else?
Yes, let's head to the main event
to talk about.
Absolutely, main event.
I kind of feel like with Comic-Con happening this weekend, it's this huge convention. It's really amazing.
It's
and we
wild.
see a lot of cool toys. It was
there's
wild.
Tons of cool stuff that came out of this thing. Hey,
definitely. Geez, I mean, there were some Ninja Turtles and whatever's at all that were shown off, and they're looking great.
It's insane. And finally,
I just want to talk about for 2 seconds before we get to this thing. I just feel like it's worth mentioning. I want to talk about this little convention that we had here in South Africa called Richie's Toy Fair. It happens 2 or 3 times in a year. It's like a little gathering where, no, it's not that kind of show. It's 20 Rand gets you in, which is less than $1. 20 Rand gets you in, and it's a bunch of people. Just either they vendors who just collect and sell vintage toys, and what's the word I'm looking for, bric-a-brac or whatever. They have a whole bunch of that, and then it's guys who are also serious collectors or serious sort of online sellers and whatever. So anyway, we all get together and we sell a bunch of old stuff, and we had that on the weekend. It's a very short show. It's on Saturday morning. It was awesome. Dug through a lot of Toy Biz stuff. Dug through a lot of some McFarlane toys. Very sadly and very irritatingly missed out on a Grey Lady or the Librarian Ghost from Ghostbusters, which I would have loved as a takeaway from the show. But what I did pick up quickly with these 3 was the Jurassic Park, the Ford Explorer. This cool little bee from what are they called? Changeformers or something.
I think I have that.
And then a game that I needed in my collection, which is Shadow of Rome. Form changes, thank you. And all of these items cost me 50 rands. So yay!
What?
So that
altogether
so came out of each of them was 50 rand. Each. So fantastic. that was nice. So
that's amazing.
I just wanted to show some love to a local toy show where you can usually find vintage figures. I have spotted GI Joes at these things before, but I've had those GI Joes already, so I didn't pick them up. But lots of fun little toys, and just wanted to mention that while the big bad convention is going on, where they're going to show us the big bad. This is the part where
probably my favorite thing to come out of SDCC is that DC announced that they're returning to the actual logo.
Oh, thank goodness!
Finally, we're finally getting the DC thing with the 4 stars on. I'm like, thank goodness. We've spent years with this freaking foldy page DC bullshit where it looked like a D, and it was like you could just about see a little bit of the C. And then they had that rubbish one with the star spinning around it, and then they did. I mean, the current one they did have was classic. It's literally just DC, which is actually one of the original ones. But I'm very glad that they've
Yeah, my
returned
favorite
to
is when you can see the
actual
D
logo.
and you can see the C.
To see a little
like, in the
exactly. I want to
same
see
frame.
and the D and the C. I want to see a D. I want to see a C together in the same frame. You know that I don't want them. It mustn't be lewd. You know, I don't want the D on top of the C. You know, I don't want the D in the C. I just want D next to C. You know, like that's how it should be. And I'm very excited
preach,
for that.
brother.
I mean, hell yeah. So going forward, the comic books and the DC Studio movies will have that logo. And I don't know, it makes me very excited. It's like I'm like 12 again. Wow. Anyway.
Do you think this
What's
was
this big news?
Thrilling.
Yeah.
let's talk about the Rattler. Come on.
Yeah, stop talking about the stuff I'm talking about. This is amazing, guys. On
What you like?
Friday afternoon, I think it was about 1 p.m. I logged into Haslab. It was on about 7K.
Mhm.
By 6 p.m. that night, I think it was, in 5 hours, this thing had hit 9,000. Like in real time, I could refresh, and another 500 people had bid to this thing. And now, Sunday at 3 p.m. Central African time, we're sitting on 11,156 backers. This thing it's shooting for the sky. It's incredible.
It's shitting for the sky.
It's incredible.
I think the fact that it was such a badly kept secret was helpful in the sense that people were very forewarned. It's going to be the
Like,
Rattler.
guys,
It's probably going to be in the sort of a, late 200s, early 300, maybe $350 range. So save your shekels and pounce.
Which is it's just
which
on
is
par
exactly
for
what
what
was gonna happen.
they've charged before. I mean, 350
The leaks.
seems to be the leaks. That's just them marketing it. Guerrilla marketing, as it were. Very cool. I mean, the only mistake I found on this page is them converting inches to millimeters. Huge mistake. So the length of this thing is like 35 inches, which is 85 millimeters, which is huge. So that is the length of it. And then the
85 centimeters, Rob.
85 centimeters, yes. 85, that is the length. And then they converted the width of this thing from something that's only an inch shorter into 35 millimeters, while it is literally almost as wide as it is long. So
That's
someone messed up
that
the
measurement is when the wings are folded in.
No. That's when the wings are not folded in.
Oh, come on, Rob. I've just
That
looked
is
at
when the wings
page.
are not folded in. I looked at this page. I checked it out. Literally, if you look at the image, if you scroll down, you'll see where they show those two things. On the left, there we go. That third measurement, 32 inches wide, 357. And that doesn't even make any sense, actually. But anyway, I'm nitpicking it.
Can you really criticize them for not knowing metric? It's not taught in their schools.
I really can.
Obviously.
Do you know how easy it is to
I
convert
can,
Google?
because it's done in a public form. You should make sure that that's right.
There we go.
And once again,
all right.
this is not some middle of the road little tier company. This is a big company. They should fact check that shit. Again, graphic design fail.
I did a little rough calculation of my own. Take a little gander at this. So I was looking through my collection and I happened upon the Core Beast Bomber.
Whoa.
Which structurally, I'm sure you'll agree, has a lot of resemblance to a Rattler. With the H-tail, with the engines mounted on each wing, with the top turret. And so I took this thing and I was messing around with it, trying to find places to store it, like on my head.
It's a hat.
This is a classified snake eyes. And this is roughly what you're going to expect to see in terms of the sizing.
That's wild. Yeah.
It's a hat,
looks
right, Rob?
to me.
Is that what he's trying to show? It's like it's a hat.
Yeah, it's a hat. It's a cool hat you can put on.
Okay,
but
cool.
Yeah,
so
I would
that also costs $350, Steve.
15 Australian dollars. Secondhand.
Wow.
People can't give these things away because they were Christmas presents like 5 years ago. All the kids have outgrown them, and now it's just a huge space suck. So
yeah,
keep that in mind.
Well, I mean, something that we discussed. I mean, you know, when we were talking before it came out, like, where do you put this thing? And they've actually addressed that. One of the big features of the classified version is that the wings do fold up. So now it will obviously vertically it'll take up a little bit more space, but horizontally it takes up way less space. I think that's a huge addition to the Rattler overall.
The point of comparison that they make on Hasbro Pulse website is that if your shelf is deep enough to have a his tank, it should be deep enough to hold a Rattler with its wings folded.
Wings up.
Yeah, there we go.
So, you know, it's a big chunk of real estate, but like it's not impossible. Like,
Yeah,
this
no.
bomber, the wings. I mean, you could pull them out with much difficulty, but like you cannot find a place to keep an aircraft with wings as wide as the plane is long. Like it's just a bad footprint.
So is that why it's $370 because you can fold the wings? Is that what makes it?
It's $375 after taxes, I believe, which still makes it cheaper than my fucking Sky Striker. I really got gouged on that one. Anyway, what you gonna do?
So, okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Have you guys taken a gander at the features?
Yes, I watched the video. Bart actually dropped in the comments now, in the chats now, and I had a good laugh at this. I'm offended by the Rattler's promotional media on Haslab. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but when they posted that YouTube video, some of the comments were like, way to go, Hasbro, by insulting your potential customers. And I'm like, if you are getting offended by Cobra Commander ripping you off in a promotional video to sell a Rattler, then I'm sorry, you're not a GI Joe fan. You don't understand things. Ridiculous.
Did make Chris Lotter sorely missed. I mean, I think I have at least three people in my personal contact list who could do a better Cobra Commander impersonation than whoever got paid Hasbro money to do that.
You mean the guy that speaks like this?
Sorry, he's not good.
He's not good. I'm the better Cobra Commander than him, and that's me being a bitch. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. Who is this blonde guy? Like on the screen, we've got a character in a red outfit. He's got blonde hair. He looks a lot like maybe Duke from Classified.
Don't you recognize him from the comic book series? No, of course you don't, because no one fucking does.
It's like
IDW issue 280, Untold Tales.
Oh yeah, I love this shit so much.
Yeah, where they do a continuation of Shakedown, and they show off Wild Weasel's unmasked face. As I say, no one seems to remember this appearance, but it happened.
Yeah, well, we do because we covered it recently, and it irritated me then. So yeah, I just want to jump on by. Sorry, again, I know I'm like sounding like Captain Complainy here, but I'd rather just get like the annoying, nitpicky, like negatives out of the way and focus on the positives. But really, like, this was a huge misstep from Hasbro. Firstly, that shouldn't be Wild Weasel's face, in my opinion. He shouldn't be some good-looking golden boy. I feel he should be scarred and messed up and whatever. One scar, yeah.
Yeah, but not enough.
He should be like a burnt offering. It should look terrible. Like, I don't know. I love that.
I subscribe to the camp that all villains need to be horribly disfigured.
No, I just feel
how
like
you supposed to know they're bad guys?
I just feel like there's so much mystery with Wild Weasel and characters like Scrap Iron, so having them have these marred faces is kind of an interesting payoff for why they have the mask on the whole time. It's a fun payoff.
I would modify what you're trying to say by saying that, like, if you read his file card, it's very evident that he's an old warhorse. Like, he's fought conflicts across the globe in multiple different aircrafts. So he should be older, more seasoned.
Yeah, this looks to me. Temples. I would accept this as Ace.
Yeah,
like without the scar, I would say this is Ace. This is the face of Ace.
Once again, man, Classified series tight haircuts. These guys have just come from the salon.
Make him old. Yeah, that's way more appropriate for who the character is. Obviously, they're taking liberties as the Classified line. It's not, wholly the vintage line. But yeah, I think an older character would have been more interesting. Because that's the thing. I mean, yes, obviously at a certain age you are too old to fly. because of the stresses of flying. But the thing is, he is a
Tell it
he's
to
a
Tom
veteran.
Cruise.
He's a veteran, and I think him being older it makes it more interesting. His conflict with this younger upstart ace.
Also, Cobra wouldn't care how old you are as long as you're useful.
As long as you have the abilities, what
Cobra's
you're doing.
not worrying about insurance. Cobra's not worrying about
And
litigation.
It's the Dark Knight's logic. I mean, they paraphrase it there, but it's a well trod out saying that if you either die a hero or you live long enough to be the villain. Like basically, when you become older, you become more jaded and more discontent with the system. You turn to getting your way outside of that system. So like bad guys should, by definition, be more cynical, more world weary, older, more experienced. They've done their time for noble causes. Now they're in it for themselves. So like, okay.
That makes sense. Yeah.
We've spent a lot of time talking about the characterization of Wild Weasel's face.
Yeah, but we had to, but
I stand by it. Like he should be an older pilot.
I think that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I'm leaning at. I just feel that he's too young. They're trying too hard with the Shah thing there. Also, his flight plan on his legs. I saw this on another post. It's great that we can read it, but we're not supposed to read it. Wild Weasel is. So for the guys that may not have seen the pictures of this, who are not listening to the podcast, check out classified Wild Weasel's legs, and you'll see that the plan is actually upright for you as a viewer to read it, and not for Wild Weasel to look down
I hope
at his
that
lap and read it.
Is just I hope that's a problem with the digital render, and that is fixed.
Yes.
But you know what? All this discussion is completely moot, because as Danny of our time says, Weasel's helmet will not be coming off, so he's okay with it. Just leave the helmet on. He can look back however you want him to look.
Nice touch to have the damaged helmet, though. I think that's a cool inclusion for Wild Weasel.
I think that's cool because they include the damaged panel. which the vintage version had, so you can kind of reproduce it, and it's a cool continuation of that. Like you get the damage onto the panel, and it hits the canopy, as well. A really cool thing I like that they have redesigned on this thing is the gunner emplacement. I feel like it's way better designed than on the vintage. And I'd hope that there's more space for the guy to sit in there too, which I think is a very big improvement. Like it feels more aerodynamic. Instead of the kind of this little round thing that just popped onto the back of the.
It's very World War II looking
Rattler
again, which is cool. It's like future World War II looking, Neo World War II. So.
Yeah.
Guys, I'd love the idea of making the damage, because this vehicle has got this whole lighting feature where you can have warning lights go off in the cockpit, and then the damage panels also have lighting behind them. So if you've got them,
flickers, apparently they want to get a flicker to the lighting,
which I think is actually super cool. Like if you're paying $370 odd for this vehicle, I love that the lighting feature has been really well considered, and that HUD looks amazing. In fact, the Dragonfly's HUD, I saw some new images of the Dragonfly stuff, aside from the stickers being ugly, not the design, the application. The HUD looked amazing in the Dragonfly, and it's cool to see that they're continuing that coolness with the Rattler.
Well, with the toy of this size, you would want the lighting throughout. It's big enough that you can install lighting and make it more interactive, as it were.
Yeah, and also with the price, it's like those little things kind of award you for paying that kind of money for it.
Yeah, so it's a little quality of life changes, from a smaller, 3 3/4 inch scale vehicle to a bigger vehicle. You really can, you have that space in the internals to actually incorporate all of the stuff that makes them come to life.
It also seems like that was a concept that was considered from its grassroots in its creation. Like they were like, we want to make the battle damage kind of a premium feature or a draw card for this toy.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I think it's cool that they've got seatbelts. It's going to be great for toy photography. But seatbelts might be a little bit tricky to maneuver when you're trying to put figures in and out of this vehicle. I don't know how many people are going to have that problem. because I think a lot of guys are going to put a figure in there and probably leave it there for a while as they have it displayed in their collections.
Then you forget how to undo the belt and you break it.
So I hope there's some smart thinking about how to get a figure in and out with the seatbelt without damaging it. And I do want to remark on one of the most superfluous features, at least in my opinion. A flight stick being posable is great, but in a gun turret where I don't know how somebody's going to get a camera in there to really take a photo of that with a figure in there. But cool. For me,
Well,
I just see it as a fragile
It's
part.
easy to put it in his hand, I guess. You know, they
Yeah,
wanted
but
you to be
also-
able to like position it into his hand, so that's why it has to
What's-
be movable.
What
Maybe?
worries me about that feature is just that, with my very most basic brain here looking at it, it's probably going to be a ball joint that is what's slotted in there. So that thing's going to come out. So it might be designed that you pop it out, put it in the figure's hand, put the figure in the gunner seat, and then pop the hand and the flight stick in. That's great and all, until you drop it or lose it, and that's where I'm a bit like, I think they should have just made that a permanent feature, and have the posable flight stick maybe for the cockpit. At least that's my feeling on it. I just thought it was a very silly feature, and I thought it was quite a silly feature to put a spotlight on in the announcement video. Like, the gunner seat has got this, and this, and a movable like flight stick, and I'm like, oh, okay,
Thank
cool.
you.
Well, look, they did have the feature duplicated in the cockpit. The joystick and the throttle have articulation.
To me, that makes sense because you can also see it. In the gunner's side, I don't think you can see it. I think it's such a narrow space, and that when you look at it in the video, the flight stick is like underneath. It's like sort of in the fuselage. So it's not something that you're going to even... It's like something you have to go to your friend and go, oh, by the way, if you do this and you look in there, not only can you keep your weed in here, but you can see that the flight neck, I need a toothpick. You can see that
Look,
the flight
you're
stick
either the
moves.
type of personality who needs to have your action figure's hands posed on the controls, or you're not. So power
true.
to you. It's there for you. And I
It's an
at this
option.
scale, the tolerances are better.
Mm,
Like if we're talking a 118, fiddly, yes. But
mm.
112, things are a little bit, meatier. I'd like to remark on the landing gear, which is spring-loaded to come out, and then kind of you click it back in place manually. Seems pretty robust to me, and it looks like they've got the geometry of the wheels. I mean, it's not realistic to have them splayed like that, but it is good for a toy. You'll be able to land with, the momentum of landing on those back landing gears won't collapse them because they're pushing against resistance. They fold forward to go in.
Yep,
So
that is a
already
great
I'm like,
improvement.
I'm filled with hope that this won't go the way of the Sky Striker, where engineering dropped the ball, like in the
But that's a
final
great
hours.
improvement over the original. I mean, like the original, I
It's
mean,
relative
depending
of the
on your
graphic
model,
designer.
they fold inwards. I mean, again, not for landing, but just displaying it. Like they fold in so easily. Like my version of the Rattler, like it just bloop, goes straight in.
Good for you. You're in the minority, my friend. Vintage Rattlers and landing gear,
How do they go? Floop. Just floop.
yeah, bloop, and they've snapped
Floop.
off.
Oh,
and
sorry.
that's it.
Floop.
Oh, there's no mine go inwards, thankfully. So okay. Really? So mine are like are going the right direction for
Look,
the flooping.
Rattlers, the landing gear was always a problem on the classic Rattler, and something that they sadly didn't ever re-engineer
Never
for like
addressed it.
the 15th anniversary and the 25th anniversary versions. So like, it's nice to see a Rattler that has a different landing gear scheme, because it's also given it a bit more height off the ground.
Yeah,
Like,
it does have a nice
The
clearance.
classic Rattler is too low.
Ooh, it's like
The
right
landing gear is
there.
too petite.
You add the armaments to that thing, and like those things are dragging.
Scraping, yeah.
And
yeah.
talking about armaments, this thing has less than the original, which I suppose makes it more realistic. But it feels like it's under-equipped. But I really like the designs of the different bombs and missiles that it comes with.
I'm gonna say it has
Rocket
more.
pods are cool.
Do you really
Yeah,
think
the
it has
rocket
more?
pod.
Why? Because of the rocket
Yeah.
pod? Does that replace the triple bomb dropping?
The sort of the bomb racks with the 3 bombs is
Yeah.
present on
Is
this.
it?
Yeah.
Okay. No, when
Pushing
I
on
looked,
it.
I didn't notice that.
Rocket
I was-
bombs looks like a napalm as well that comes with it.
Oh, those things. I thought there was one thing. I was like,
Oh yeah,
I thought it was like
but
a
it's
big,
cool.
like,
It's like
fish
I think
thing.
Steve, I could be wrong. One of those is napalm,
I think you are.
and I think the other one's a bunker buster or something of those
They've
bombs.
got these
Yeah.
cluster bomb munitions, which have like the
Yes.
first thing I thought of was the Rock with the ZX gas, those little like
Yes.
balls.
Yeah.
But apparently,
That's
like
great.
it's a clear panel by the looks of it that shows you the interior of the bomb, which are obviously little explosives.
I never knew that was a thing.
It apparently has thermonuclear weapons. The write up goes into description of the.
We're done. It's like if you're equipping your average Rattler with thermonuclear weapons, then GI Joe's.
Then why are you trying to turn all the animals in the world evil? Yeah, I get it. It's a bit like,
2 thermonuclear bombs, according to the Haslab.
no
According
way.
to Destro. Mm-hmm.
No way. I mean, like, that's very cute and everything, but no. That's too much of a risk. If you get that, if that's shot down or whatever, there's a lot of money that you lose.
Yeah.
No. Cobra wouldn't do that shit. I'm sorry. I'm not on for that at all. I'm like,
And
Yeah,
just
you
I don't
like
wouldn't-
see this as a nuke
the
delivering
rocket pods
phase,
on the Dragonfly are chips and salsa, here the rocket
Mhm.
pods are divide and conquer.
Cute. Chips and salsa is also new news for the Dragonfly.
So new news.
Yeah.
Hi guys, I don't actually know what else to say. I mean, we could keep rattling off the cool features that we like.
What?
Like
A
the-
pun?
the
Oh my
landing
god.
lights are great. I mean, finally having that an actual practical light feature
Yeah,
instead of just
Lighting
a sticker.
system's great.
Really good. It's such a simplistic design, but so effective to have the flight stand not only clear, which is nice,
Yes.
it will disappear, but also have this angled attachment that can basically like there's
Yep.
no mechanicalness to it at all. It's just basically a molded piece that if you push it the one way, it'll show it diving the other
Yeah.
way into a slight climb. You put it on its side and it's banking the one way, and the other way it's banking the other way. I know I'm not
Yeah.
explaining myself correctly, but like
Yeah.
sort of
It's
four
attack and a-
positions.
Depending
that
on
you
how
get
you
out of-
change the position. from
yeah,
one
one
piece.
molded piece. It doesn't articulate or anything like that. Some people are
So
remiss that it
clever.
doesn't have that ball joint that the Sky Striker.
No, but
Ace
that
has.
makes
I'm so glad it doesn't have that.
so much better because
This is a much more
it's more
substantial claim.
sturdy, and it makes more sense. Why add that extra stuff in there when you can literally just make it like this? I think it makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
Also, this thing is
Um,
going to be heavy, so I think getting
Oh,
away from the ball
absolutely.
joint is a smart idea because in less than 2 years' time, if it was a ball joint, people would be
Oh
like,
god, that thing's
"Has
just
anybody
gonna
got
zoop.
any like tutorials or ideas on how to like make the ball joint hold its position? Because my Rattler keeps flopping, and then mine actually
Yeah.
flopped down the one time when I was at work, and then now it's broken." So I think this is a very good idea for the stand. In fact, I feel like Hasbro's design team here really was thinking of not just of trying to make this a premium product and trying to make it all value for money, but also just considering the collector and how the collector would want to, store and access their parts. And the fact that you can use the
Yeah.
little drawer there to keep a lot of things means you can keep your vehicle out of box complete and then store your box somewhere else completely far away from the figure, which is really
Yeah.
handy for like toy collectors because it is annoying to have to go and dig through a box to go and like find a weapon set or
Yeah,
something
little
because you don't
breathing
have a place nearby to keep it. And so yeah, I thought that was clever. It's nice
So-
thinking of the actual end user. So
What do we think of the tiers? So the unlock tiers. So
I think
obviously
they're
9,000.
freaking clever.
9,000
No, I mean
is what unlocks this thing. It's now being made.
Mm.
And then there are 3 tiers that as the toy goes along, you're gonna hit them, and these are like extras that that people get when they buy this thing. So the first tier is patches. They're little like human-sized patches that you can add to your clothes or to your bags or something like that. And you hit that at like 11K. That's already unlocked. This is a given. You get some nicely designed patches that you can add to whatever you want to add to. And then from there, we actually get things that people would want to unlock. So at 14K, we get the gunner. So the gunner does not come standard with this vehicle. You only get wild weasel as the pilot, but then you get a gunner man with once again 2 different heads, depending on the ethnicity of your evil people. Pretty basic figure, pretty standard, I'd say. Nothing to kind of like shout about. He's all right. And then of course there's the one that everyone wants. There's the
Updated face sculpt Baroness.
18K, which is obviously then double what they asked for as the
vaginal void.
So yeah, 18K.
That was in reference to the picture, people. Sorry, guys.
Flight pilot Baroness
with her
Really
cute
gorgeous.
hair up in a bun.
Yes,
that
I
hairpiece.
like the
It is.
different heads, the head pieces. So you get the hair up in a bun, and allows her to wear the headset.
Headset.
So it comes with nice little accessories, a couple of guns, and very well sculpted. I mean, is this a
Jeez,
reuse
extra nice.
of a sculpt they've used before for Baroness?
I believe it's a lot of Glenda / retro Scarlet, but hell, I don't know classified.
New
I don't
face
know how
for
to pick up
Baroness.
those parts. I'd like to think that her boots, her stilettos are new. They seem
Yes.
far more petite, or what's the word? Like her coil cycle version, the Cobra
Yeah.
Island Target exclusive.
These look
one.
less practical, basically.
Yeah.
They look more
These are-
like high fashion.
like
These
movie
are like you're going
Baroness,
out, yeah,
actually.
They're sexy.
You're going out for dinner. They're less kind of like running in heels. But it's pretty smart. It's like they want 9K to unlock. Yeah, like they're actually like platform shoes, her practical walking around stuff. But when she's piloting an airplane, she kind of puts on her high heels.
Don't need to
Because
use
she's
the
like-
pedals.
Because she's like, I'm down with the patriarchy on this one. Yeah. Anyway,
She uses those to step on the ball. If you're an aviator, you know what I mean.
I gotta say, this face sculpt is incredible, though. I really do love it.
Yeah.
Maybe
They've
a little bit.
nailed it.
It's a little more friendly than what we normally get from Baroness, which is normally like ice cold kind of mean bad guy lady. But yeah, it's a
But
cool
this-
face sculpt.
She's
Good stuff.
definitely, I think, as an unlock goal, or as a tier, is like a reachable thing, or whatever you call it. It's something worth aiming
Stretch
for.
goal.
I think.
Oh,
Stretch goal.
definitely.
She's absolutely amazing. I think she's a great addition to the classified line. And yeah, I can see this. So predictions. This is obviously going to hit 18K, right? We all believe that, because it's going
Will
to
there
start
be any
slowing down
additional
now.
unlocks? Is one
Ooh.
question that the chats had. Yeah.
I don't know. Have
Maybe
they
more
done
fire
that?
effects.
Yeah, I don't know what
think
else
they do that.
What else can you actually add to this, though? I mean,
Well,
because
yeah, I
now
hate
you have
the-
you have a pilot, you have a gunner, you have a alt pilot in Baroness. It already comes with all its bombs. It has damage panels. It already has a couple of fire effects already, the necessary ones. What else can you add after this? You can only just keep adding more figures, I'd
a
imagine.
crew chief, a
Mm.
one scale ramp rat, sort of a
Yes.
ground staff.
Oh, you could do that, but that's like, no thanks. Like,
Is that top
I'd
tier?
rather
Yeah.
not. Is that
the
what I want when I hit 24,000?
Actually, no. That actually makes sense. That could actually work because first tier here is patches. It's like, yay. Most people wouldn't go out of their way to get patches, so they're getting patches. They're annoyed. They're hoping people put more money in so that they can get their gunner. Once once the tail gunner, let's call him that for now. Once the tail gunner is approved, everybody's going to be like, well, you know what? Let's throw in a little bit of extra money and let's rock a Baroness. Then for people who have already gone in hard and are going to go up to the Baroness tier, having a flight crew actually is like, yeah, you know what? Let's throw in an extra $50 or $60 or whatever is to get like a flight crew, like a ground crew chief or ground crew stuff, because why not? That will just top it off. Because at that point, you're kind of like, that's your bragging rights. That's the kind of thing that you want to have to go, yeah, we fully funded the shit out of this. So, yeah.
Oh, this is a cool idea from Moonlight. You get maybe a generic pilot, working parachutes, and ejector seat for photography. That could actually
That
be
is
quite
actually a
cool.
cool
'Cause
idea.
They've already teased that with the battle damage and the kind of the canopy coming off in one of the promotional images, and the gunner kind of flying off backwards. That could be a nice addition. Kind of have the seat removable and put with an ejector thing in it.
If the seat isn't already removable, cannot
What
confirm or
yeah.
deny. Yeah.
Well, they wouldn't show that off. There's no need to.
Yeah, I think the only thing that makes sense for that, just sorry, I know we're on a tangent now, but if the cockpit seat is, or the flight seat is removable, it'll be easier to put a figure into that, put the belts on them, bring their arms in, and then slot them into the figure, as opposed to trying to like maneuver
into the
this
cockpit,
thing
yeah.
with its limbs everywhere, trying to get there. Because the
But
classified figures are weird in that they're forgiving, but they'll be forgiving, but still give like a lot of pressure out, which might scratch some of the internal, decals or whatever that they're going to put in. So maybe that's something to do.
I think
Yeah.
overall we're all very positive about the classified Rattler. I think it's a great addition to the classified line. I would have preferred to see a ground vehicle that could hold multiple characters, but that's just me, I guess. I want something that will hold like 8 figures. I want to be able to like drive somewhere with these things. But
something we can touch upon though, before we wrap up on talking the Haslab, something mentioned in the chats by Moonlight, but the popular opinion floating around is that there is a potential Easter egg in the patches.
Whoa!
That we are seeing.
Oh, the Mobat.
Of course. Well, in that color, I'm thinking Mauler. It's a
Mauler,
it's a tan.
Yeah, tan color.
Now, of course, the Rattler's primary opponent is not necessarily an aerial vehicle. It's a tank smasher. It needs a tank to destroy. And the way things have gone, started with a HISS tank, then GI Joe got an aerial vehicle. Now Cobra's getting an aerial vehicle. GI Joe needs some ground muscle. The Mauler is, I suppose, your prime candidate.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I think having the Rattler next does make sense because you've kind of done an aerial one as in the Dragonfly. But I really do, like for me at least, I think a ground vehicle would have been a nice addition. At least one that holds a lot of characters.
Early days. But
yeah,
at the same time, they are certainly casting their minds forward. While a lot of work still needs to be done, obviously, to bring the Rattler into fruition, they've got to have their eye on what's next.
For sure.
I imagine if it is a Mauler, it's pretty far along in the sort of the conceptualizing process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say, Paul?
I would say that a Mauler is not definitely, like the likelihood is pretty high. But if I was living in the States, if I was living in a country that was Haslab friendly, I would actually probably get this.
Yeah, I think it's pretty freaking cool.
I find it that appealing. It's not that I have anything against the Dragonfly. It's just that I see the Dragonfly as being incredibly difficult to store because helicopters, even GI Joe, vintage GI Joe helicopters are difficult to store or to display sometimes. So the Dragonfly is kind of off that list. The HISS tank is really cool, and I love HISS tanks. And part of me is kind of a little bit like, I've got a little bit of FOMO on that. But yeah, if I was in the States now, Rattler would have been the one I would have gotten.
Yeah, I think as a featured piece, like if you couldn't get all of them and you had to choose one, I think Rattler would be the one to get because it is such a showpiece, because whatever you
maybe
do,
this is
stand out.
Yeah. And maybe this is a flaw of my imagination right now, but I don't see them ever doing something like a Raven, like the Night Raven. I know we should probably never say never, but like I said, this is a flaw of my imagination. So I feel like the Rattler in classified scale is kind of the definitive Cobra wing that you can get.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of a special vehicle for that. And
this
is not me trying to sell it to anybody. It's just,
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It makes sense. If I was in the States, I'd get it too. We've got a
question from Lone Wolf asking about wait times from funding to receipt of the toy. My only experience is with the Haslab Sky Striker, and that was, I think that was a year, give or take a month or two.
I think they usually projected out a year. So like it's
The
coming now.
Dragonfly
It's
has been
months.
delayed by just under 6 months. So that would bring it up to like 18 months from funding to completion and in your hands.
So typically the year to 18 months if you had to go. So 12 to 18 months approximately. So a year to 2 years after you fund this thing. Well, yeah, I suppose it depends. But
I
think
would
that
rather
seems to
them
be the
take
general-
more time and not screw it up than to rush something out the door and to have issues, as the Sky Striker was met with.
Also-
and that's why I'm very pleased that the guys from RoboSkull have taken their time.
Yeah.
That is still
admirable.
coming. Yeah.
Yeah, but
So-
I mean,
I
I
wanna
think
make sure
a
it's right.
year seems to be the minimum. You know, like they usually project it out a year. Like we're getting the money now. A year from now, you'll get your toy.
Also, Haslab calls this crowdfunding. It's not crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is a risk. This is a very fancy pre-order. That's called
essentially,
crowdfunding.
actually, that's what this is. Yeah, if you're a company, you can.
So
kind
don't
of,
worry
put
about it.
things out there. Yeah.
Yeah, so with Haslab, at least you know it's going to come out. It's one of those, you know it's going to come out. But if they rush it, they're going to screw it up. So yeah, as you said, the longer you wait, the better. Generally. I mean, let's not talk about the Sentinel.
Yeah. And yeah, Robert Kalupitan points out for him 1.5 years on average for 3 Joe Haslabs. Yeah, so 12 to 18 months is what you're kind of looking at from you paying for the thing and then you getting the thing. So lots of time to get that money back, I guess.
Right on.
Yeah, good point,
Dudes.
actually, Rob. Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about from? I mean, there's a lot that was released in SDCC. We'll probably touch upon it.
It's difficult to stop talking about it. There's so much. You know?
But do you guys want to talk about some comic books?
Oh my
Just
goodness, do I?
Which comic book in particular are we going to talk about?
Oh, wow.
GI Joe ones.
Wow. Wow.
I hope so. I'm so glad we're not covering the re-release of My Little Pony, if that's even a thing. I don't know.
GI Joe podcast, or maybe the latest Monster
I'm just
High
saying, like,
comic
what
series.
we've got Scarlet on the slab, and we got GI Joe 308. Yeah, I'm looking forward to 308 because you guys can tell me how it is. Maybe it'll convince me to actually read it. Very often. I'm sorry, I couldn't even for homework. I was like,
well, Duke's got his back grenades back.
Hell yeah. And
Cody, you did.
Mindbender shaves his underarms even now that he's a mutant. Interesting.
Yeah, they're very organized. These mutant guys, like basically nothing's changed since they became mutants. Yeah.
Well, they're even more lethal and can kind of be ejected out of.
Yeah, they're even more lethal, but they can still be killed anyway by GI Joes. It's very all over the place. Like so the airplanes that they introduced in the previous issue is basically why they have horizontal launch tubes. It's because you can fill them with the mutant Cobras and launch them. Vertical launch tubes, sorry. It's because you can fill them with these troops, and they'll be able to survive dropping from whatever height, and they'll be fine. But at the same time, they can easily be taken out by GI Joes who are completely unarmed and escaping from prison. So simultaneously, they can survive huge falls, but they can easily be killed by a couple of unharmed normal people.
Look,
I don't know.
I'm just grateful that, like, I mean, I was on a public forum on Facebook, and I was just sort of saying, like, I wonder how many issues it's going to be before Serpentor makes his move. He's kind of been like plotting this takeover of Springfield.
Lots of plotting, lots of watching each other. Like, ooh, what are the Joes doing today, Mindbender? Well, they're eating lunch, Serpentor. They're enjoying chicken masala.
The
Joes!
Friend of the show,
I'm very hungry.
friend of the show, Darren Cobb, aka Railroad. He stopped me, so thank you. He said, "Steve, have you read 308?" And I was
Have you
like,
read
"No, I
308?
have not." I immediately went and
Oof.
read it, and
Went and checked it out.
yes, Serpento has made his move.
He
He has
has.
sent
It
mutants
took,
into Springfield. Very exciting.
just took 8 months.
And he's met with resistance.
Oh,
Resistance of a
absolutely.
Cthulhu Viper. Sorry, relating to the Techno Viper on the.
no,
on the
Paul.
front.
This is the frame that you want to see, buddy. Battle Armor Cobra
Yeah.
Commander and Heat Vipers.
Yeah, that is cool.
Overall,
Yeah.
Paul Pelletier
Nice,
is still
baby.
kicking ass. His art is
Yeah,
absolutely incredible across the board. Like there were 1 or 2 designs where I was a bit confused. I think the back of the his tank is open, or it looks a bit weird to me. But otherwise, like his redesigns or his interpretations of Joe and Cobra characters, it's very cool. Or reimaginings, like we had. Yeah, Paul pointed out. There was a Cthulhu a Viper kind of doing the waving off with the stealth aircraft. Very cool. I think it's just a cool design. And yeah, Cobra Commander's ready because he's also been watching, guys. He's been watching Serpentor. What is Serpentor up to today? Oh, great Cobra Commander. He's feeding on some of his own troops. He's so hungry. Ah, thankfully we have our own food. Chicken masala is my favorite. Bring
And the
in
other
the
big
pudding.
reveal of this issue, Serpentor #1, the first Serpentor, his body's still alive.
Yes, that
fridge.
was an interesting little tease.
Okay.
So we have both
Some
Serpentors
Serpentor on
still
Serpentor action going to go
exist.
down.
That would be. I mean, do we think that's going to lead somewhere? Are they going to unice this version of Serpentor,
Cool
and he'll be
artwork for
working
that
maybe
page as
for
well.
GI Joe? I mean, or what do we think?
It is remarkable to me that we are now in an era where, like, I wish Larry of the 90s could have a look at the comic book now. Like, guess what, Larry? That character that you didn't have a particular fondness for, well, one day you'll have reintroduced him twice and are about to thaw out his original version to add into the mix.
Yeah.
And
Like-
you're writing your best work. Oh,
Ugh,
sarcasm
something
alert.
facetious. Look, it's curious to me. Like, I look back at the classic run and I think to myself, wow, it did not stop for a second. It was always in motion.
Yeah, because if we understand his writing method, he is essentially writing by the seat of his pants, and that's the way that he liked to do it. He approached each issue. He would look at, like, what did I just do? What can I do next?
What
that
I
adds
mean,
to
though,
that and
Rob,
moves
would do
things
that
forward.
right now.
I feel like in another era, like this mutant saga would be over in 2 issues. The Cobra Island Civil War might have had build up before it and then a little bit of fallout afterwards. But in terms of the actual conflict, 2 issues. Done.
Yep.
Serpentor dead on the floor with an arrow in his eye.
Thank you, Zoltan.
Yeah.
And then moving on with the book, onto Destro and his Iron Grenadiers, etc.
Well, this is definitely a point that we have hammered home every time we look at an issue of ARAH currently, is that the storytelling feels exceptionally
Labored.
unpacked. It's very languid. It's languishing across, whatever issue the page occurs. Nothing happens for 20 pages, and then there's a little tease of something, or we're told what's just happened before, with nothing new happening. And finally, now 308, yes, there's some big movement. Yes, 307 there was. We dropped some Joes into Cobra Island. We get to see them face opposition, and they get captured, and stuff happened now in issue 308. And yeah, that's something that we have been saying every single time we talk about this. Everything is very very I know there's a word for it, but I'm forgetting the word now. But it's very stretched out to
Meandering.
Very
meandering.
labored,
Very labored
Yeah.
to the nth degree. But like, but then the people that obviously do, and I mean, and you're more than welcome to enjoy it. Who enjoy it, they will be able to point at those things and say, yes, something did happen in this issue. Something did happen in this issue. Things are moving forward, but it's not moving forward at like a pace that feels I don't know. Yeah, it's not moving at a pace that I think is acceptable for the amount of money you're paying per issue and how long you're waiting for the story to move forward.
Rob, you
but yeah,
mentioned
I
a
think
little art weirdness. One that struck me, was the fact that the bombers are, this is like top-down shot, a
yeah,
bird's eye view of like a
drawn out
highway
to make you
with a
moonlight.
truck on the highway, and the bombers are between the camera and the truck, and like they're supposed to be gigantic, but
Yes, yeah, because
Huh?
the middle part of the airplane is what holds the men, and there's at least 8 to 12 tubes in those bomb bays.
But my point is, like, they should, if they're closer to the camera, they should be like almost obscuring what's beneath. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're 3 on the page. Like, this is me nitpicking, but like I was reading, I was like, that's really weird, like wrong dimension to those aircraft. Anyway, like I say, not great radio. Let's move on. Paul, you did read Scarlet, right?
I loved Scarlet.
Oh,
Hell yeah, hell
sing the
yeah.
praises,
I
boy.
loved it.
Mm.
Sorry,
But yeah, as we throw it under the bridge or under the truck before we move on, I'm saying I think overall it was great to be able to have things happening. We're moving forward, and I think that's fantastic. Like stuff is starting to happen now, and I hope that this is the beginning of the rock going down the hill. It's gathering, it's throwing off the moss, and stuff is starting to happen. And I hope this is the beginning of stuff happening, action.
Something.
Let's get some action on Action Force comics.
So, come on, do something.
Sorry to interrupt, Paul. Scarlet issue 2.
Scarlet issue 2 is such a treat. It's doing exactly what I loved about Duke. We got Scarlet thrown in, and they're not wasting time. They're pulling us through the narrative quite well. We're getting Scarlet's thoughts as well, and we get to see once again Scarlet being badass, but not being like a super soldier, if that makes sense. But okay, yes and no.
Disagree.
We no, we get it. What I mean by that is like, again, I feel like the characterization is more on point. She's not a guy in a woman's body, which is great to read. See that we haven't fallen into that. And we're seeing some very like gnarly stuff that like Scarlet has to do in this issue, which is pretty rad. Like the fact that like I love that she's like feeling her lips to see if they've taken her lockpick, for example, and they have, which is like, and then you realize that was also kind of, well, it was a bit of like a red herring because she's actually got a real one hidden somewhere else, which
smart.
is the razor blade.
She plans ahead, which I think it says a lot about her character. Like she plans ahead for anything that the possibilities that she's going to come up against, which shows how smart she is.
She is still a little bit brutal, and we get a bit of that in this issue where, I mean, she really doesn't hold back. I mean, she's quite happy to kill people, but then again, they're trying to take her out as well. So we've got this whole like ninja pajama rammer battle going on with like some Arashikage guys like trying to actually take her out properly because they see that she's escaped.
I think this is one of the things that Stephen is probably hitting against.
It's like 8.
Is that the action is awesome, but is it maybe a bit too much? Do you feel that way, Stephen? I mean, I feel like that's where you're coming from. Like the action is cool, but it's like, how many people does it take to actually take Scarlet out?
Yeah,
I've always imagined it to be elite, but coming up against like very well trained martial artists, she's somewhere in the middle. Like this is setting the Arashikage up to be a little bit chumpish, to be honest.
Especially if you consider this is their headquarters. Like you'd think the guys that they keep at the headquarters, yes, there might be guys in training. Like you train your guys at your headquarters as well. But the guys who kind of like wandering around in their costumes, like I am an Arashikage stormtrooper. Like those would be the guys who would be fairly well trained. So you're feeling like they're downplaying the abilities of the Arashikage to make makes Scarlet seem stronger than maybe you have previously thought she is.
I don't think this is a valid criticism. My knee jerk while reading this was like, man, she cuts through a lot of people. Like, there's a lot of fodder being thrown in her path. Like, if this was all just a test, I mean, you said it last time we spoke about this book, Paul, that like it just demonstrates that these particular Arashikage members were not worthy, that like they
Yeah.
can't dispatch one measly girl. But like, there's a lot of blood on her hands to complete this mission, and I suppose that just serves to show how high the stakes are. So I'm talking myself out of a corner here by saying like this is showing how dedicated Scarlet is to joining the Arashikage, even if
Yeah.
it is for clandestine reasons. Like she's going hard, and it gets the attention of Storm Shadow. He's like, okay, actually, you've proven yourself sufficiently to become our sacrificial lamb. We needed someone expendable who has your talent, so you can join
And
us
that
Yeah.
for a mission.
Paul. So Stephen's showing us some panels here. If Stephen scrolls up a little bit,
Ooh,
do you feel like some of these panels, like especially these ones here, with the kind of look of Scarlet, and then the previous
Eastman
page?
led.
Yes.
Yes.
Are
Very
you guys
Ninja
all
Turtles.
picking up on that? You know,
Yeah,
like very much
very much picked up on
the
that.
start of this page and the end of the previous page. It feels very much the choreography and the layout of the bodies are
Even
very
the
much
design,
Eastern that. Yeah, the Foot Clan.
even the design of the Arashikage like foot soldiers when they get all wide out the eyes and they've got like
yeah,
the sort of little horned kind of looks on their ninja gear. Like I love
I think
that
it's
because
a
it is
very
very
cool
reminiscent of
homage. You know, the kind of
yeah. Also, what is cool in this book is that yes, Scarlet gets like hardcore, but there's two things that prompt this. Firstly, there's a message from Jinx that kind of tells Scarlet to go hard. That's the first thing, which is earlier in the book. And then secondly, one of the Arashikage actually shoots at her. And then the leader of that team is kind of like, you idiot, like, you fool, what have you done? Because now her whole brain is now switched on. She's gone from defending herself to being offensive, where she's like, now she's going to kill. The kill switch is on. And I like that. They use that to describe that Scarlet is not just killing these guys because she's some kind of savage like barbarian. She's now officially like, okay, that's the stakes now. Cool, I will kill you. I'll kill you all right back, and I'll kill you hard.
I like the fact that the leader of this guard unit, he gets
Looks
a
like Tatsu.
ninja star in his skull, but he's still alive. So she's got him
it's
by
great
the
because it's just not like kill move. You know, he's throwing the stars. I think stars. You know, it's more like it's a distraction more than it is a killing thing.
It's a trope.
but
It's
great.
an 80s ninja movie trope that you
Yeah,
throw
you
a throwing
throw the
star
star,
and
the
someone
guy's dead.
dies. But like
Yeah.
in this instance, it's lodged in his head, but he's still standing. He's still fighting.
Yeah.
And eventually he's shown mercy because Storm Shadow arrives and is like, let's talk. Love this shot of her
The
bloody
footprints.
feet. The footprints
on the glass is so cool.
glass.
It's
Kinda
such
reminds
a
me-
cool detail.
It's a very John McClane, isn't it?
Yes.
You know, when he's
The kind of,
swinging
like,
out
bloody
on the
footprints.
Nakatomi Plaza windows, about to kick through, and he's sort of
and
leaving
you see
bloody
that.
prints on the. Ooh,
It's
gross.
such a cool little detail. I mean, once again, I mean, like all of these miniseries have had fantastic artists on them. Like they've really chosen
Great
good
design,
artists that kind of
incredible.
bring out the best in the kind of stories that they're trying to tell the Skybound.
I'm still
So-
saying Jinx and Scarlet were more than just friends. Sticking to my
I
guns
think
there.
that aspect I think is more I think it is more apparent in this issue, but then it's like, why doesn't the writer just go out and just do it? You know, we are in a day and age, I feel, where you can tell these sorts of stories without people, I don't know, like
It's
Cringing
more
and reeling
safe-
back.
It's more safe
Yeah.
to tell those sorts of stories these days.
Leave it open to
Yeah.
interpretation. This is still a red-blooded, like gun-loving, like this is GI Joe still.
Or do we think it's
So,
that, or is it
leave
Hasbro
it open to
itself
interpretation.
being more I don't know, like they're trying to, like, this is the way that we've established the character. We don't want huge changes. You can imply stuff. But then at the same time, in me having said that, I mean, like they are in other countries, you know, where they do like telling certain types of stories, like in China, they do a lot of like not boy love stories. I mean, there are TV series where the characters are very obviously homosexual, but you can't actually actively say that and come out with that. But they still want to tell those stories, but make it ambiguous enough that when you look at it from a certain perspective, that isn't what they're trying to say. And I suppose, yeah, having it be ambiguous allows the reader to interpret it the way that they want to. Like she's going up to that line and not crossing it. But personally, I would like it for just be out and out with it.
I like the fact that it adds a little
Speak for
interesting
yourself.
character wrinkle to Scarlet and Jinx's relationship once they become members of the GI Joe team. If they are more than friends, how does that change when Snake Eyes or Duke becomes a potential romantic interest, or Falcon if they want to play into the sort of
Wetsuit.
more time-honored
Or
tropes?
Torpedo, sorry, Steve.
Yeah, Wetsuit or Torpedo. Like, there's lots of guys and girls on the team, you know. Lots of stuff can go down. But it's nice that they are establishing this pre-established relationship.
The other wrinkle that this adds, if you guys are keeping score, is that Scarlet is becoming ensconced in the Arashikage herself on her own merits. It's
Yeah,
not like
thank
she's
you.
there
Without Snake Eyes.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
not there by invitation. She is working her way into this organization on her own steam. So when Snake Eyes does get introduced into the books, like who knows when that will be? Will it be in GI Joe 1, which is scheduled, I think, for November?
No, maybe.
Or are they going to keep pushing it out? Like, keep leaving the number one selling character out of the book for as long as humanly possible. In which case,
Should I
I
hope so.
applaud them for that. But like, for Scarlet to be in the Arashikage already, that's such a huge core tenet of Snake Eyes' character and
It's a
his
big
relationship
shift.
with Tommy. So has Scarlet usurped that? Now has she become this sort of new Snake Eyes persona for us?
We'll see.
There's
I think
strings to her bow
that's the question.
that are directly
Yeah.
taken away from Snake Eyes.
Which is going to make Snake Eyes' entry into everything a little bit more interesting because it might be different and fresh and maybe
I
charming.
think
We'll
I
see.
think overall they're trying to balance out the importance of the characters and the interest that people have in the characters, so that you kind of big up Duke and Scarlet as we go forward, and so that they are kind of at a level playing field, as it were, to Snake Eyes in their importance in the universe. So you're kind of like building them up first, so that when you do introduce Snake Eyes, he doesn't automatically take over the entire thing. Because people go, oh, it's Snake Eyes. Like, you got to tell stories about Snake Eyes. If you establish that you've been telling stories about other characters in your GI Joe team, it kind of it puts more weight on them, I think, story wise. So I think that's kind of great.
I agree with that fully, Rob. Like, I think it's good that we're giving other characters a chance to stand on their own merits before we get the ultimate ninja MacGuffin to come in and ultimately, like, just
nothing
like
against
every
Snake Eyes. Obviously, we absolutely love Snake Eyes, but it's cool that that we are actually developing other characters before we kind of put them in there, which I think is great, because GI Joe has so many characters, and it's cool to see more of them get the spotlight.
And also,
I have
Steve
to
touched on
confess,
this.
guys, I was a bit down on this issue when I first read it, but after having just reread it, I'm like, I love this.
Damn, it's fun.
It's too cool, man. And also,
Because
Steve, you touched on
initially
this.
I thought it was very played out. That it was very generic. You've got this kind of Kill Bill first half of the book, and then a Mission Impossible second half. I'm like, I want to see Scarlett doing something quite uniquely her, but it's fun, and I'll go with it.
Yeah, I think. I think what I like. I think the thing that I love about this book so far is that it's really just breaking a lot of the Scarlet tropes, but then at the same time trying to keep some of the stuff that they know that Scarlet fans like, but trying to redress it in a way that's more, I don't know, just more approachable and less sort of, I don't know, egregious. Or egregious. There we go. It's actually the word I was looking for. Egregious. Egregious, because
agrarian.
Agrarian. I've hated Scarlet since I picked up IDW books. Like
Wow.
I've literally hated every interpretation of Scarlet in the modern GI Joe sort of run of things to the point that it's actually put me off her as a character.
You
I'm
should
enjoying this
reread
book so
Devil's
much.
Due, my friend. She's not being done great justice there either.
Well, there we go. That's another one. Sorry, but ever since GI Joe came back into vogue, like after the original 80s run, because I've just felt that she's always just been a man trapped in a woman's body in pretty much everything later on, and it's just really irritated the hell out of me. It's made her a very bland character for me. I've just found her just irritating as a person, as a personality. So this book has been so cool in that I'm kind of getting to meet Scarlet again, and I'm finding that I really like this character, and that there are elements of her personality I don't necessarily love, but that's also great because it's a balanced character. I go, okay, these are things about her I'm not so like big on, but you know, these are other things that kind of balance out. Whereas before it was just like, oh geez, this could have just been like Duke with red hair and boobs. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
And a
it's
ninja
cool that-
sword.
and a ninja sword. And also, Steve, you touched on this so nicely. I love that Scarlett's introduction to the Arashikage is her own introduction. It's her own journey. It's not like, oh, hey guys, I've got this red-haired girlfriend. She's in the military. She's like pretty good with karate. Like, can she join our like ninja boys club? That would be like super stellar. You know, she's working her own way in, and I love that. And it gives her own merit. And also, by extension, even though Jinx is not being heavily focused on, we go, oh, Jinx is already a powerhouse. They're not playing up Jinx as just some other ninja girl or whatever. It's like, wow, Jinx is talented. Storm Shadows even like acknowledge the fact that like, yeah, she's pretty special.
There ain't no
And-
one like Jinx. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Mm.
and I love that. Thank you. This is great writing. This is a great book, and probably like just like Duke and Cobra Commander, this is one I'd love to own physical copies of.
Mm.
Hell yeah.
Rob?
Yeah.
Especially because the cover art's amazing. So just putting that out
It's
there.
awesome
very
overall. I mean, still great
Yeah.
art. I like that the story goes places. You know, you get the first half, you know, kind of heard them kind of, you know, not accepting her, but being like, you can join us if you do this thing for us. And then she goes and does the thing in the second half of the issue. So I like that things are moving forward, things are happening, that the comics have a great pace to them. Yeah, so I'm excited for 3, 4, and 5. I want to know what happens next. I'm still very
And-
much on board with it.
And
Yeah,
so
boy.
cool that Hardmaster points out her flaws as a person.
Yeah. you know,
Thought that was
she's not-
cool.
she's not perfect. Which
And
is-
that
While
she
she's
has
in
the-
the room.
And I love
Well-
that she has the humility, or should I say the modesty, to stop herself from getting angry and like upset and every other fucking girl trope that ever gets used in storytelling with a strong woman, so-called strong woman. Now we've actually got a real strong person that's turning around and going, okay, is there perhaps a way I can prove this to you? You know, which I love that. It's very martial arts.
Let me
Like,
kill some more of your
okay.
guys. Come on.
Yeah, but you know, and the
well,
Arashikage
she's
has
helping
already.
prune the bad guys. You know, like these
Well,
are the
that's
guys
exactly
that were
it.
no good for you. They would have been useless to you anyway. I mean, whoever's left over.
One of me is worth 12 of them.
Exactly.
She's
Yeah,
separating the
12
wheat
of
from the
your
chaff, man.
best. Yeah, there we go. That's the term my mind was searching for. Yeah, great issue. Hope. Yeah, we need more. We need more.
Paul, you got some new shit. So do I. Rob,
Ooh.
one must always ask.
You must ask. No new shit. No, I
Any
have
new
too much
comic
cool
books?
stuff ready. Well, issue 2 of Scarlet. I have that.
Oh,
So,
good boy.
oh, there we go. I own
One
it.
of us has a physical copy.
Physically.
Goodness.
You know, that's
Boy.
you know, to allow the rest of you guys to read it online.
Mhm.
I own it. GI Joburg does
Thank you,
own
Rob.
Scarlet. Yeah, no, that's about it. Nothing else that I've wanted to buy recently. Yeah, excited for stuff that is coming up though. DC has started Absolute Power, and excited to see where things go from there. But what has Steven bought? Oh my goodness, he's bought a Star Wars
Dash
vehicle.
Rendar's Outrider from Shadows of
Wow.
the Empire. My goodness, this is a 20-year-old toy, and
Whoa.
it does show its age. I mean, that era of Power of the Force was a weird one, wasn't it? They were making vehicles that were very much appealing to like the vintage aesthetic,
Yeah.
making figures that appealed more to He-Man aesthetic, and they
Yeah,
do
it's a
not.
weird mismatch.
They do not go. Like, I cannot get him to sit properly in this cockpit. Shameful. It's. I mean, I had the figure first, and I was like, let me see if I can pick up his vehicle cheaply enough. I could. It was $20. It's missing the bottom turrets and the weird non-cannon cannon on the other end, which makes this thing into a B-wing effectively. I'm glad that it's not there, to be honest. But it doesn't
fun little
hold
vehicle.
the pilot. Infuriating.
It's like they never wanted it to. They never intended for it. You know, they were like, guess we have to put a cockpit in this thing. Oops.
But at the same
Well,
time,
the
they were
Tiger
like,
Force-
this. Yeah.
Oh,
Tiger Force
Tiger
Roadblock,
Force.
he's cool.
Hell yeah.
I
It's a great
had the
looking figure.
helmet
cool.
from an accessory lot that I just
So you're like,
acquired.
I guess I have to get the figure now. I have
Gotta
a
fill
helmet.
up that melon bowl, bro.
The figure without any accessories was going cheap online, so I was like, why not? It did come with its gun, so now I'm just missing the
Oh.
backpack and the tripod and the ammo
Wow.
box, if you want to count that as a separate piece. And
Of
then
course we do.
Facebook Marketplace yielded a cool find, which is actually Elliot's toy, but I'm going to show it off as if it was mine. The Playmobil, the Playmobil A-Team van,
Oh, great fun.
complete with grubby 3-year-old paw prints. That's very cute. I should have given it a clean. It's lovely.
That is very cool.
I've got
That was-
I think it's Jazzwares, the movie one from
Yes, you
way
do.
back when
Somewhere.
the Charlton Copley, Bradley Cooper film.
Yeah, I was looking at that one. You helped me
Yeah,
get it.
Liam
It's a cool-
Neeson.
I thought
Yeah.
I think it's a cool vehicle still.
It's cool. It's just gargantuan. It doesn't scale
Yes.
well for O-ring figures. Whereas Playmobil, apart from the fact you can't put them in the driver's seats, it scales
It's
a lot
the
better.
right size. Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
That is so cool. Yeah, this is
Beautiful
the
little
toy that I
modular
saw
interior.
at a local toy kingdom, a toy shop, where it had been placed right at the top shelf, and the top shelf was right below the fluorescent light. So when I pulled that box down, I could actually literally feel how hot the box for that toy was. I was just like,
Clowns.
how do you merchandise your shop where you have toys sitting right
Yeah,
up against
correct.
fluorescent lights?
I'm
Not
having the
fluorescent
best
lights, what are those
time
other lights, sorry.
playing
no
Mr.
sucker fool.
T. I'm playing Mr. T with Elliot all the time. And in fact,
Hey.
he demands it. He puts this figure in my hand. He's like, you hold him, Dad. You hold him. So I'm getting flashbacks, Rob, of when I used to insist that you always hold your action figure at all times and stay in character. Like, don't stand him up against the wall. Don't put him on a stand. I want you to hold him and stay in character. Like,
Well,
Elliot
that's your
does the same thing
connection.
to me.
I get it. That's awesome.
He's like, hold him, Dad, hold him. I'm like, I've got a cramp, boy. But okay,
Yeah.
crouch
I've
down.
got him.
I got a crab boy.
And I try and do the voice. I'm like, yeah, I'm Mr. T. That's first name, Mr. Middle name, period. Last name, T. Don't you forget it. Like, it's good fun.
No me,
He
no
loves it.
sucker.
Yeah, so yeah, that's me. You shit. Why did you make me do it?
That's awesome. I made you big so we could show off your awesome toys. People want to be able to see them and be
Thanks,
excited.
Robbie.
Paul, other
It
than
comes with
your
so many
fantastic... Oh, the accessories. Wow.
So many.
Wow. Why are you telling us about the
Playmobil.
gift that I made you small again?
No, man, that
Why
was
you-
that's all I got from like Richie's Toy Fair. That's my most recent toy pickup, and it's cool.
They're
It was
great.
like a nice little
I
trip to
think they're
memory
awesome.
lane.
It's a great little thing to pick up.
I'm annoyed. I am still like really kicking myself for somehow missing that Ghostbusters figure that was literally in a bin of figures that I
You
like
were
scratched through
so
before the show even opened.
close.
I was so close. I was so mesmerized by Kenner Batman shit and filming that to show you guys than I was actually looking through the box. So now lesson learned. In future, I'll just go through the shit first and then film afterwards. I was trying to get this
Hell yeah.
this real experience. Of like, oh, this is really my first blushing kind of thing. But now I'm like, oh, screw filmic or cinematic honesty. I'm just gonna scratch through it first next time, and hopefully I won't miss out on a great lady again.
The
Yeah.
toys, man. Don't worry about
Get
content.
But,
Get
them.
the
Come
toys.
on. Just get the
I was
toys.
asked. I did a. I mean, I just took my Rattler outside and flew it
Mhm.
around the park in the dark, and I shot a short, not with the express intention of doing that to make content, but I had my phone in my pocket. I was like, let me just do a selfie of me flying my Rattler. And one of the questions was like, is this going to be a new play motion? And I wanted to.
Mm.
Well, I did respond. I was like, actually, sometimes I just go to the park with my toys, just cause.
Yeah.
That's what I used to do
Just
when
to
it wasn't for
play.
content. So yeah, occasionally that happens to this day.
Sometimes it's great fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right, cool. Guys, this has been a blast. I love this new time slot
Has
because
been
I'm
absolutely great fun.
finally compos mentis and I don't have a
Well,
3-year-old
yeah.
banging
So I
down my
mean,
door.
for people who've asked, I think you probably mentioned up at the front. We have decided for now to move to this new time slot. I can understand it's kind of like a huge shift, especially for our American audience. This is probably the weirdest time ever. But yeah, life necessitates moving things around, making it more convenient especially for Stephen, he's a father. He's a father of a 3-year-old. I'm sure a lot of the audience can relate to that and how your lives kind of got jumbled around, got messed around, got pushed about. And yeah, to be able to allow him to, kind of like not be a zombie. And we've chosen the slot, and it seems to work out for the rest of us. I'm quite comfortable with the slot. Paul looks very enthusiastic. He loves.
I'm rad, dude. Like, I think it's good that we do stuff like this because it stops us from getting into a rut and having the same kind of mentality of that time of the day or the evening.
Yeah, I think the
one
time of
gets into
day
your
also
mindset,
changes. Yeah, it's the way that you think about stuff. And as we are making our walk away, I just wanted to mention one of our longtime collaborators and best friends, Cujo, released a video for Cobra Convergence 8. It's I'd say it's a little contemplative piece. It's 2 minutes. It's got great music by Occam's Laser, a long time a guy that Cujo has often used music for in his many productions online. It's kind of just a little contemplative piece of a Cobra kind of getting disillusioned with Cobra overall, and kind of like going into the boonies and rediscovering himself and his reasons for
No
being
spoilers,
a person.
Rob. No spoilers.
Oh,
Let people
I'm sorry.
experience it.
But yeah, it's a great little 2.5 minute thing. It's short, and it's just great fun to kind of see, what's Cujo up to, and what can a Cobra discover beyond being an evil villain. So please go check it out. I think it's great fun. It's a nice little take a moment from the day and just think about yourself, think about your family, think about life, and have fun with it.
Cobra
Go watch
Convergence 8
Deadpool and
is
Wolverine.
wrapping up in the next few days. Once again, I implore everyone listening to this, if you're long-time GI Joburg fans, maybe you'd consider branching out and finding other people, other podcasts, other GI Joe content. There's a wealth of it still to this day, and it's all rostered on hcc788.com. Click on a link that you don't recognize and tumble down the rabbit hole of
Go
someone else's
crazy.
GI Joe
Go
content.
crazy. Hell yeah.
I think it's been a great event, even though it has been kind of on autopilot, I guess, without the great man himself spearheading it. Who knows what the future will hold? GI Joburg will always be more than happy to participate in whatever event takes place in its stead. But yeah, CC8, good times. Demons was our contribution. If you know us, you know that that's a big tentpole moment for GI Joburg to do our international backyard collaboration play motion. This weekend I released some extended scenes, deleted material, and all the new participants 1 minute or more pieces in their sort of unaltered format. So if you want to see what our brave souls got up to, check out our video feed on YouTube.
Have a look, have a gander, check it out, see what's going on. Enjoy your weekend, enjoy your week, and catch us next time where we'll be talking about some sort of awesome GI Joe vehicle or toy. And thank you to everyone who supports us, keeps us going, keeps the lights on, keeps Stephen awake at night, I guess, thinking about cool new things to give you in the members only. Keeps Paul going as he creates incredible music for our members.
As I'm saving up to get us
extras.
like a nice door.
Hell
to
yeah.
upgrade the music making software.
Good times.
Yep.
337,
Fun
that's
times.
us. Out.
337.
GI Joe.
Thanks to everyone who came through on the live
Berg.
chats, keeping it lively. Enjoyed the banter, particularly getting some blushings with what people are opining.
About
are-
about SDCC, and let us know what you thought of all the cool stuff from SDCC down below in the comments. Hit like, hit subscribe if you like us. Yeah,
Do all the
and if
things.
you're listening on Podbean and everywhere else, thank you for listening, and catch you on the next one.
Yo,
And
Joe.
don't be agrarious.
Yeah, don't be agrarious, guys. Be
Berg.
agrarian.
My bad.